Hi, and welcome back to Choosing to Rise, a podcast about growth, faith, and transformation. I'm your host, Dr. Carolyn Kennedy, and today I have with me a very special guest, my good friend, Paula Nelson, and she is a life coach like myself, and she's also a public speaker. And so I've invited her to join us today, and our conversation and our podcast today is going to be a little bit different. So this is the first time I've had a guest, so welcome, Paula. The reason, or one of the big reasons why I asked you to join me specifically today is the anniversary of my mother passing, and Paula had asked me a question that I couldn't answer. Paula asked me, how are you going to honor your mother today? And I decided, let's do this together. So we're going to have a conversation today. Paula also lost her mother 2 years ago on Sunday, this past Sunday. And so we have that in common, as well as several other things. But she is going to join us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about choosing to rise and walking through grief and honoring those that we've lost. So, Paula,
hey,
welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So if you want to start out by telling us just a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about your walk through grief.
Awesome. Yeah, I will. So like Carolyn said, my name is Paula Nelson. I lost my mother on August the 3rd of 2023. Quite possibly the hardest thing that I've ever watched or had to do. Our stories are a little different. My mother did not die suddenly. She was a little bit of a process, I think. It's a little bit of a process for her. I say when my mother went down, she was never sick. My sister found her half in the bed, half out of the bed, called the ambulance. So that's what I mean by she went down when she went down. And so as soon as I heard, she was in the hospital for 2 days, and I jumped on the airplane and flew to Arizona, because that's where my mother lived. We're in Tennessee. She lived in Arizona. And I didn't leave her. I stayed there next to her until, as terrible as this is going to sound, until the morgue came and got her. Like, I don't know how to say that. Not nicely. I don't think that's mean, though. Like, it's real.
That's absolutely not mean.
Yeah.
And my situation was very much different. My mother was in Texas, and like Paula said, we're in Tennessee, and my mother had a heart attack. And so she was at home by herself. And that's been something I've still been walking through and trying to process and handle, because that part of grief of knowing that she was by herself when she passed. And then, so it was sudden. It wasn't expected. Now, granted, though, Mom had lived a really good life. She was 87 years old. And some people will tell you, well, then you should expect it. You should be ready for it. Those are the people I want to throat punch. And I don't think that, I don't know that you put a number on the having lived a good life. I don't know that you quantify when that good should be over. And granted, I'm not naive. I understand that death is a part of living, that I understand there's a whole circle of life. I completely understand that. But understanding it and handling it, accepting it, walking through it, two completely different things. So you've got the logic part of it.
Well, I don't think understanding is just different. Just because we have knowledge of something doesn't mean we understand something, because you don't necessarily understand something until you go through it, right? And what I mean by that is, like, my mom was 81. So knowledge-wise, I know she's not going to live forever. Right? But I still didn't expect it.
Right.
And I didn't even understand it until I went through it.
Sometimes I think that you can go through it and still not understand it. I mean, I sat through Algebra 2. I sat through Algebra 2.
Leave a comment, let us know.
And I didn't understand Algebra 2, and I sat through that too. But I don't know that you can really,
Well, that's algebra. You didn't comprehend it.
True.
So you didn't understand it.
But I think that for some people, like myself, with emotions and dealing with emotions and being able to process emotions, where that's still a struggle, and being even able to name the emotion, let alone I guess you would say, grapple in it and really feel it and know exactly what it is that you're doing, being able to process it. I think that's what I mean when I say not really understanding it. So yes, and I don't know that I could say that I've gone through it. It's been 4 years, but I'm still in it. I don't know that I could say that I've gone through it. I'm still going through it, and I'm still trying to understand. Like I said, not the logic piece of it. I mean, that's easy, but the other part of it is less than easy.
So that would bring us to the stages of grief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of a different, if you Google the stages of grief, you're going to come up with a couple of different things. Majority of people who study grief agree that there's 5 stages. Some people add a couple of more. Sometimes you'll look and you'll Google something and it may say 7. But for today, we're just going to talk about 5, right? And I'm going to use a little cheat sheet right here because I need it. So the 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining. She made fun of me, said I put a T in it earlier. Depression, and acceptance. And they are not necessarily in any order. You don't necessarily hit one and then go to the next one. And sometimes you jump back and forth from some of these. I can honestly say that I don't remember feeling a lot of anger.
And I, on the other hand, absolutely did. Absolutely felt the anger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, my counselor will tell me, y'all might call him a therapist, I call him a counselor, same thing. He tells me I did go through that and I probably just dealt with it really well, so it wasn't like necessarily a thing that I remembered. I also don't necessarily remember bargaining.
Yeah, that part I don't remember either. All of the 4 other ones, I remember. The bargaining, not so much. I don't know that I recognized that I did that.
And I'm not sure if I was in denial. Because like I said, I watched my mom die for 11 days. I think. 10 days.
Yeah. I remember sitting in her house by myself for the very first time when I got to Texas. And just the whole idea of you hear the word surreal being used as, it was just surreal. I don't know if that's the word, but I can't think of a better one. I'm not sure it's the right one.
I think it is the word.
But
I just think we don't like how society uses surreal.
Right, because they make it sound like a great thing. And that was definitely not a great thing.
But it can be.
Yeah.
It can be a great thing.
Yeah.
Like when you hold your grandbaby for the first time, it's very surreal. Okay. You're like looking at this baby and you're like, is this really happening?
That's why I said I don't know if it's really the right word, because that's what I think. When I think surreal.
That's what surreal means.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think that we can necessarily put it in a positive or negative box. But hey, while we said that, let's not put emotions in a positive or negative box. And emotion and feelings are different.
How so?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's just nix that I said that because I don't have enough information about that. But I am also an Enneagram coach, and I'm very much into the Enneagram. And my favorite teacher, in her book, she just talked about that. This audio book that I'm listening to, she talks about the difference between emotions and feelings. And so
I think for people like me who are type 9 Enneagrams, we struggle with both of them.
Yeah, well, so do 8s. But I think she said something like grief is the emotion and sadness is the feeling. Because like the emotion stays with us.
Okay.
The feeling comes and goes.
So feelings fade.
Yeah. Right? It's kind of like if you stub your toe, the pain goes away, but the sore is still there. Like the cut might still be there, but the pain's not there anymore. So like grief is still with me, but I'm not sad every day. I really probably should have researched that a little bit more before I said something. I could jump up real quick and go get my book, but it would look bad, so I'm not going to. But anyway, her name's Suzanne Stabile.
Suzanne Stabile.
Suzanne Stabile.
And what's the name of the book?
I knew you were going to ask me that too. The Journey Back to You, I think.
Okay. All right.
I might be wrong.
Gotcha.
It's green. I have a couple of her books, so I confuse them.
You cross them up.
Yeah, because one's called The Path Between Us.
Okay.
And that's how numbers work together.
Right.
And this one is called The Journey. Oh, The Journey to Wholeness.
The Journey to Wholeness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's such a good book.
And her name again was
Suzanne
Stabile.
No,
Stabile.
Stabile.
With a B. Stabile.
Stabile. Yeah, there's some T's in there too,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
I'm sure.
All right. So when we were talking about the stages
I'm
of
going
grief,
to take
Paula,
a drink, sorry.
when we were talking about the stages of grief, so we talked about starting out with oftentimes that anger piece, and you said that that's not really a stage that you felt that you went through, and then we both talked about how bargaining, that neither of us really felt like we went through bargaining. The next stage after that was
There's denial.
denial. And so I don't know, when you talk about denial, it's not that you can deny that the situation happened. And let me explain. Let me stop for a second and say, when we talk about grief, although we're, like I said, today's the anniversary of Mom's passing, but grief isn't just about losing somebody. You could have grief for losing a relationship with somebody else. It could be grief over losing, as you mentioned earlier, a job, especially if it's a job that you love. Usually we don't grieve, losing a job that we didn't love, just not usually. But it could be, so grief in general, and understanding that grief, regardless of the reason or the cause behind it, it's still grief.
Right. It's just a loss of something that you loved.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Something
and
that-
I've had a lot of grief.
Right.
In the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I grieved my car. I loved my car. I
She
didn't
did
buy
love
another
her
one
car.
for almost a year.
She did love her car.
I love that car.
And yes, she did put off buying a replacement for that car for quite some time.
Yeah. 10 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't walking. Don't get me wrong. I had another one. But I mean, a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it had to meet certain criteria, but that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show.
It's such a great story, though. Maybe she'll have me back. I'll tell y'all.
Yeah.
It has to do with her.
Which might be why it's a great story.
Yeah,
Anyway,
great story.
but so we talked about how denial, and like I said, so when you think about denial, we don't deny that the situation exists. So what do you think it means when we say that
I think it
denial?
means like when we sit and we go, did
I
that
can't
really
believe it.
happen? I can't believe that
I can't
happened.
believe it.
I can't believe it. That's denial.
Yeah.
Like at 9/11 when we're watching that
Yeah.
and you're sitting there and you're like,
Yeah.
what am I watching? Is this really happening? That's denial. You're like, I cannot believe what my eyes are seeing. And so I think that that's kind of what it is. And if that's the case, then I kind of did go through denial. I think when we were in the hospital and when I walked in and when I walked in and I saw my mom in that bed, I knew, I kind of knew. But then when she heard my voice, she opened her eyes and she looked at me. And so I thought, oh, maybe we can recover from this. And I was just like, oh, but you're not. So like in the hospital, I really went through, is this happening? Okay, yeah, it's happening. You're watching it happen, but maybe, And I remember when I woke up on August the 4th at my niece's house, that as soon as I opened my eyes, my very first thought was, this is the first time in 50 years that I've ever opened my eyes and not had my mom.
I felt the same thing. So like I said, I'd gone to Mom's house, and so I was in her house by myself that night, and the next morning, just sitting up in bed, and just the whole realization of, I'm an orphan.
Yeah.
I'm an orphan. And that whole idea of just not being able to say, hey, Mom.
Yeah, like I don't have parents anymore.
Yeah. And I remember thinking of all the things that I used to complain about. The times that, that Mom was definitely a very opinionated person, very strong-willed. And And I remember how I used to get upset about her strong opinions. And now I don't think there's anything I wouldn't give
To hear that strong opinion.
for her to tell me, Carolyn, why are you doing that? You're doing it wrong, or you should have done this. I don't think I'd give any. The whole idea of being able to hear that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that realization, and like you said, that first part, the denial of how is this possible? And like I said, logic is another thing. But when you're sitting there and you're feeling like, how is it possible that today I don't have mom? I had her yesterday. I had her the day before that. But today, tomorrow, I don't have mom.
Yeah. And you just kind of sit there like for me, I was like, I woke up and I'm like, how do I breathe? How do I live in a world with no Betty Jane? How do I live in a world with no Ethel? Ethel! You know, I called my mama Ethel. It wasn't her name. Her name is Betty Jane, but I called her Ethel.
Yeah.
And like, how do I live in that world? You know, and things were a little different for. I have to call you Carolyn. That's so weird for me.
She calls me Kay.
I call her Kay.
She calls me Kay. Whole nother episode, whole nother conversation.
But things were a little different for us because your father's situation was very different than my father's situation. Right. And even though both of our fathers passed before our mothers passed, I didn't have a good relationship with my father. It was hard the majority of my life. It ended in the best place that it could end. So the grief for him was a little different. But when my mom passed, even though I never really had my father in my life, but when my mom passed, I do remember thinking, I have no parents.
Right. Yeah. Orphan.
And that's just something as children, even in our 50s, we're still children.
She
right?
set the number. She set the number. Okay.
Okay. I'm 52. I don't know how old she is, but I claim all of my 52 years.
I'm still working on that. That's another acceptance piece. I think I'm still in denial on that one too. And you know the crazy thing?
Another episode.
My mother used to lie about her age too. So I still remember growing up that my mother used to talk about going to see Tina Turner when Tina Turner first started singing. And she used to, go to see her, I think she said in a barn. And she used to say, if Tina Turner can count backwards, so can I. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And so I don't know, maybe I inherited the denial of my age. I don't know.
That's funny you said that because my mom never denied her age.
Interesting.
Like she was very proud of every one of her 81 years.
My mother used to say she was only going to be a senior citizen when it benefited her. So if there was a senior citizen discount or something else, she wanted that. But otherwise, she said, I am not a senior citizen. I am not. She did not. Absolutely did not.
Yeah, well, my mom didn't say she was a senior citizen either, but she was proud of all of her 81 years.
Yeah, I'm working on that. My grandchildren tell me I need to stop lying. So they like to call out my age all the time every time I claim to be 29 and holding. So, So I'm working on
that. And I
that.
like to say, y'all don't know what Satan tried to kill me with in 52 years, so I am going to rejoice for every one of those. That's what I like to say.
I'm working on it. That's another piece. Yeah.
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 And so there's...
The next one was depression.
Depression. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I absolutely can relate to that one. Like I said, bargaining, not so much. The anger, absolutely. The denial, absolutely. And depression.
So we're going to backtrack for a minute. I just thought about some denial.
Okay.
So when my mom died, I was in Arizona, and my sister lives out there, and I didn't want to leave my sister to do everything for mom's apartment. And so I stayed out there with her, and I flew home on a Saturday, and I was at work that Monday. I should never have been at work that Monday.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine it.
I did not take any time for me, and I think that's where the denial was.
You just felt like you could be an 8 and just keep on moving.
Yeah.
I think sometimes
Well,
to
I
do
did.
that, they
I,
would
you know
stay
what?
busy.
I
They
don't know
try
if it
to,
was. I just felt like I keep on moving. I didn't know what to do.
right?
Right? I didn't know what to do, and so when I don't know what to do, I do what I've always done. And so what I've always done is show up. And so I flew home on Saturday. Monday morning, I got up and I went to the gym. And I went to work. And I got thrown in a terrible situation that I should have never, ever been in. And I just... Yeah, I think that was my denial.
And for me, it was a little bit different. So I'm the youngest of 4 girls. And so, like I said, my other sisters all live in Texas. I'm the only one that lives out of the state. They don't all live in El Paso, but they all live in Texas. I'm the only one out of state. And so I flew in. And like I said, I went to Mom's house, so I was there by myself. And Mom had left a trust as opposed to a will. Mom was of the belief that a trust would be easier because you don't have to go through probate. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you that for us, that wasn't the case because different organizations, institutions, whoever the banks that you're dealing with, they can choose whether or not to honor that trust or not because it's not a court order. It's a notarized piece of paper, but it's not a court order. Absolute horrific experience. But for me, I felt like I had to delay my whole grieving process because even as the youngest, Mom had left me as the executor. And so I had to make, and I'm not.
Did you know this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, that part I knew. Yeah, no, I did know that part. And so trying to navigate those waters with my 3 older sisters, and we get along great. That's not the problem. But just trying to navigate those waters through this time period.
Yeah.
And I'm as we say, the baby. And ask my therapist, I'm absolutely the baby in so many senses of the word. And so that was really, really tough. And I think so for a while, I don't know which stage I was, and I'm going to use the word stuck in. And you mentioned the thing about we just automatically start doing what we're supposed to do or what we've always done. And it's like I felt like I had to go into autopilot, that I didn't have an opportunity for me to sit down and for me to actually go through the grief process. And like I said, it's at no fault of all of my sisters. It was just a matter of all of the things that had to be done.
Yeah.
And like I said, I took off of work and flew to Texas, and I was such a mess. I didn't even make my own flight arrangements. My oldest daughter did. So when we found out, and you talked about I went down, and my oldest daughter took care of making the arrangements. She rented me the car, everything else, and she said, "Mom, this is your flight. This is when you get on the plane," and all of the things. And then I literally just went into autopilot. I don't even know if I was really truly processing all of the things that it was just like, this has to be done. Let me check this. This has to be done. Let me check this. This has to be done. And it wasn't until I think I got back to Tennessee and I'm sitting here thinking, what have I just done? And what do I do tomorrow? And how do I do that tomorrow? And how do we keep moving forward? So you were talking about going back to work. It was hard. It was real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And like I said, I got thrown into a situation at work that, hindsight being 2020, should have never been there.
Right.
No, actually, I should never even have clocked back in until September. Because I came home about mid-August. But I absolutely know that I went to work because I don't think I could have sat here in the house by myself.
That was
so that's probably
yeah.
That was probably my denial.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mother's passing is what prompted me to finally start going to therapy. Was dealing with my mother's passing. That and Paula. But
let me just say, I think everybody needs counseling.
Yes.
Actually, let me be real, what I really say to people. Everybody needs Jesus and a good counselor, and now life coaches. If you don't know any of those people, I can introduce you to all 3.
We both can. Absolutely.
It's my little
Absolutely. Yes.
5-second
5-second promo though. Yeah, absolutely. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. You need Jesus, a counselor, and a life coach in that order.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Because there's absolute difference between a therapist and a life coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, and I don't know that everybody understands that.
Yeah.
But that's a whole
I think a
nother-
therapist walks you through usually a hard moment in your life or the past. Kind of helps you put that mirror up to see things. And I think a life coach walks you through the present. Like, kind of like coaching, right? Like coaching a team. If you're a coach of a team at the NFL or baseball or whatever, they're not necessarily teaching how to throw a baseball or a pitching coach not necessarily teaching how they do this. Like, they already know they're tweaking the mechanics of how they do these things, right?
Maybe in Pee Wee they're teaching it, but yes.
Well, I was thinking older. I was
Older.
thinking, major leagues.
Did you say Emmitt Smith? Is that
No,
what you were
I was going to
thinking?
say MLB,
Oh,
but
I
I
was thinking
wasn't
Emmitt
sure if
Smith.
everybody knew what MLB.
Major League Baseball.
But I do know Emmett Smith because he's
Yes.
from Florida.
But he played in Texas.
Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah. But he's from Pensacola.
All right, we digress.
We do that, sorry.
We digress.
Yeah.
But so, I don't even know where we were, Paula.
Walking through grief.
Walking through grief.
You
Thank
didn't deal with it.
No.
You just started living.
Autopilot.
The death of your mom prompted you to go to therapy.
Yes,
She goes to
autopilot.
therapy, I go to counseling. It's very different. It's
Okay.
not. Just was funny. Sorry, we're talking about grief.
But you know what? Laughing is healing.
It is.
Being able to laugh. I told Paula earlier, she said something crazy. I don't know what it was, but beforehand, she said something crazy, and I had to hug her and say I needed that so much. I needed to laugh. And I think that's something else that we need to talk about, is that sometimes people feel like if they stop openly grieving, or if they stop feeling sad, if they stop talking about the hurt part, that they're not honoring the person that they lost. It's almost like they feel like that you've got to keep your, literally like your mourning clothes on, that you've got to continue, otherwise you're not honoring the person. And then you've got the flip side of that coin, the people that, again, I want to throat punch, who think that you're supposed to be over it, no matter weeks. Well, you get 3 days of bereavement, so on day 4 you should be fine.
And there's also another flip side to that, is where I thought you were going when you said flip side, is the people who have lost somebody who never talk about it.
Yes.
Who never remember a memory, or, and they try to say it doesn't bother them. And I'm sitting here thinking, no,
You're lying.
You're just
lying.
You're just stuck in there.
In denial.
Yeah.
In denial.
And I will say that one of the things that I talked with my doc about in my grief time, like when it was so fresh, that I said, I don't always do great with feelings and naming them and knowing them.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, Doc, is it possible I can have sadness and joy at the same time? And once I pretty much gave myself permission for that, yeah, that changed my whole outlook on things. That I said, you have permission to grieve your mama. And I called my mama Beautiful Mama, and that was just what I called her. That I could grieve the loss of Beautiful Mama. Like, I never can pick that phone up again. I can't share pottery night with her, or when I make a beautiful meal. I used to FaceTime her, and my mother was an awesome cook, y'all. Like, people think I'm a good cook. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And until you can walk into a kitchen and make something out of nothing and feed 5 hungry kids, then you're a good cook. And it's good.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do that. I can follow a recipe, but I can't make something out of nothing. And she could do that. But I digress. I would make something and I would FaceTime her, and she'd always have me looking up her nose or something because she's 81. But God, I love her. I would kill for one of those videos. But I would FaceTime her and I'd say, Mama, look at this. Look at what I made. Look how colorful it is. Look how pretty it is. And she's like, oh, baby, that's good. When you see me, you need to make it for me. I said, I will. after you make all my favorite foods.
You know what I thought of, Paula, when you said the whole idea of the grieving and the joy at the same time? Mm-hmm. I've never been to New Orleans, but I know that, from watching TV and different things, you hear about how they do funerals and how you have the grieving part and then you have a parade. And, we talk about a celebration of life. And I'm not going to say the words, I want to go to a funeral in New Orleans, because I don't want to say that I technically want to go to a funeral. But I think that I'd love to be able to fully understand how you do that. To be able to have that duality both at the same time of yes, I'm grieving, yes, we've lost, but then also being able to fully celebrate the life that they had, the impact that they have, the love that we felt, the emotions that we shared, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the things, but being able to honor them through that joy and that celebration. Kind of like when you asked me the other day, Carolyn, what are you going to do to honor your mom? And it's not the first time you've asked me. She asked me that each year. She asked me that each year.
I'm that friend.
Yep. So when you guys have heard me in the past, I've got that friend that's helping me to be more mindful. This is who I'm always talking about when I say that. But the whole idea for me has been very, very difficult. But I do think that it's also very healing and very meaningful. And so I started this podcast specifically on Mother's Day because of Mom. But the whole idea, though, of doing something specifically either on her birthday, which is the other days that Paula asked me that question, either on her birthday or either to honor her passing. And as you all know, that one of the things that I talk a lot about is your journey matters. And I think that if I'm going to talk about your journey matters, I need to make sure that I am remembering and honoring my mother's journey.
Girl, don't get me up in here shouting.
So,
Woo! If I jump up and run around my house real quick, I'm coming back.
Yeah. So,
And by all means, please know that I'm not making light of grief at all. No. I'm not.
Nope.
But as you were talking, I was thinking, we grieve for us.
yes.
We're sad
Yes.
for us.
Right.
We're sad for what we lost.
Right.
Like, I know where my mama is, and
Absolutely.
I know that she's in a better place,
Absolutely.
right? And logically, we know none of us are going to live forever. But I would have taken another 81 years. You would have
Right.
taken another 87 years. So I don't
Right.
mean anything like that. But I grieve for my loss. I don't have my mom, right? But the whole joy part comes from, man, when I think about her life, I can't help but to really be joyful. I was going to say excited, but when I think about my mama, and I think about, she was born in 1942 at 2.5 pounds. The fact that she lived
Right.
is a miracle in itself, right? And, she grew up through the civil rights movement and all of that stuff, and she was raised in Philadelphia until her senior year of high school, and she moved to Brunswick, Georgia from Philadelphia. Like, you talk about culture shock, right? And so, like, she didn't understand why she wasn't supposed to talk to people for the color of their skin. She didn't get that. And she was so far ahead of her time when I think about being in Brunswick, Georgia, and but being a Yankee, right? Like,
Right.
having those Yankee thoughts that you like people for people,
Right.
not because of the color of their skin. That was so unheard of
Right.
in the 50s.
Well, my mother was born in 1934, so I'm sure her experience through that time was very different.
Yeah.
And so when you think about all the things like you're saying that your mother went through, and I think about the strength that my mother would have had to have, the resilience and the perseverance and just the grit and just, the faith and the strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mama was a Rolling Stone. She had 5 husbands. Never married either of them twice, though, thank God. We had a couple different baby daddies, And even when I think, like, I'm the youngest of 5, right? And she divorced my dad last. But when I even think about that, she took 5 kids, put them on a plane, said, pack your bags, put them on a plane, left the security of my father in the military, I mean, that's ballsy.
Yeah.
In 1975, she did that in 1975. 5 kids, a couple different baby daddies, went back to Brunswick, realized she could not stay there. Like that would not be a good thing. Literally looked at a map and said, hey, let's go to Pensacola. Because she had some friends in Pensacola. They had a Navy hospital, so she knew medically all the kids would be taken care of because we all had ID cards. She had one friend there. And that's what we did. Like,
who does that?
Who does this?
Right. Who does that?
She was Rolling Stone.
Yep.
That old Betty Jane.
Yep.
And when I think about that, I can't help but to laugh and smile and rejoice in the things that she overcame.
Right.
The silly things that I think about, her playing in the rain while we had to wait for the plumber to come. We literally had to tell the plumber my mom will be back in like 5 minutes because she's playing in the rain. Like that's fun stuff, right? So I rejoice for that kind of stuff, and I remember that kind of stuff, and I hope to always honor her. Right? But I think that people don't honor their loved ones because that hurts us.
It hurts.
Right?
Right.
Like Kay told Carolyn, sorry, I'm going to get her name right. That's all the names I call her. Said that I was a public speaker, and I've done some public speaking on the Enneagram, and one thing that I usually do is I always try to make sure I have something green in the room. The name tags, or like if I provide papers that people are taking notes on, the last time they were green. I have a green shirt on today.
And that's because
my mother's favorite color was green.
Right.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you all that.
Yeah.
So my mother's favorite color is green, and so I try to honor her well.
Right.
And there's still times that I'm sad, and those moments will come. But I believe that you have to feel those moments, because if not, we get stuck in them.
Well, and I also think it's important that we understand that grief isn't just something you complete and then you're done. That it's, it has different stages.
Right.
And it's not something that leaves you. It's not, you can't, it's not COVID and you get over it. It's one of those things that it may feel different at different times, or not it may, it will feel different at different times. But I don't think it goes away.
Your brain. After my mom died, I bought a book called The Grieving Brain. And scientifically, it shows that grief literally changes your brain. So like when your mom first died, you just couldn't think.
Right.
And you're like, why can I not make 2 cells hit together for a thought?
Right.
Because it changes our brain.
And like you said, and not just dying, but grief in general.
Grief in general. Yeah. And she keeps saying grief in general, because I think that's a big thing. I think we need to know. I was out of school for 13 years that I abruptly had to leave, so I didn't go to jail. And even though it was my whole nother story, whole nother podcast. I'm still working on that one. But because I had to abruptly leave so I could keep my job and not go to jail, I left a place that I gave 13 years of my life to, that we had very close connections. It literally was a second home. Like, I very rarely will ever tell you I work a job. Like, it's a privilege to do what I get to do every day. And that was just taken from me. Or I felt like I was being forced. I had to leave or I was going to jail, y'all. That's a real thing. And so people didn't understand my grief. They didn't understand why my heart was so heavy. They didn't understand why I cried. They didn't understand what I was going through, because in their minds, they said, well, Paula, you chose to leave.
It's kind of like when you choose to leave a relationship.
Yeah.
And when you choose to leave a relationship, sometimes people think, well, why are you sad if you're the one that made the choice? And the thing about it is that sometimes we make choices because we need to make them.
That's good, Kay.
But not necessarily because we want to make them, but we need to make them. And so that doesn't mean that we don't grieve in that process.
Right.
But I think sometimes people have that misconception, for whatever reason, that because you made a choice, you should be happy about it. You should be okay with it.
Well, people aren't okay with grief.
No.
And people say stupid things when you grieve.
Yes.
Gosh, don't say stupid things.
And the thing
What's the dumbest thing somebody said to you?
the dumbest thing that someone said to me
Yeah.
was, well, aren't you over that by now?
Okay, but when she first died.
So I had someone, and I won't say the relationship because out of respect and honor for other people, but who said, well, I know that your mother passed away, but at least you were lucky that you had this long with her. And I'm sitting here thinking, my mother passed away yesterday morning. The word luck is nowhere in my vocabulary. And the idea that someone would tell me that because I had longer, then I'm lucky. And in my mind, yeah.
In your mind, you stabbed them.
Oh gosh, yes, multiple times. No, not stabbed. I broke her in half, glued her back together with Gorilla Glue, the good glue, just so I could break her in half again. In my mind. But again, I didn't want to go to jail, so I didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
But I thought it.
Yeah. Like people said to me, oh, everything happens for a reason. Or, she was 81. She lived a good life.
That's the other one. Yes,
Or here's a great one. Well, she's in a better place. That took all of Jesus and me not to,
yeah.
Because that better place wasn't with me. And were they right? Absolutely.
Right.
And I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to make you feel better. But here's the thing. It
doesn't.
Number one, it doesn't make you feel better. Number two, we shouldn't feel better. We should be sad.
Well, and the other thing is that it's trying to make them feel better.
Girl.
It's trying to make them feel better.
Say it.
And it's because they don't, and not intentional at all.
Yeah.
But they don't know what else to say. So they say stupid stuff because they don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
But
I think the best thing you can say when you don't know what to say
is nothing.
No, I don't think so. That's terrible.
There's a few people I wish would say nothing.
Right? Because they say the wrong thing.
Yes.
But sometimes nothing is the wrong thing. So for me, I'd much rather you say, hey, I don't know what to say to you right now, and I know that you're hurting, but I'm going to be here for you.
Right.
That's the right thing to say.
To just sit with them.
But to just sit and look at them?
No.
That's creepy.
Very creepy. Yes.
But
Very
I can't even believe I'm going to say this. Be vulnerable enough to say, hey, Kay, I don't know what to say.
Right.
And nothing I say is going to take your pain away.
Right.
But I want you to know that I'm here with you. I will sit with you as long as you want. I'm in your pain with you. And I will listen to anything you need me to listen to. Tell me a story about your mama.
And
What's
I
your
think
favorite
that's
story?
so much more helpful than when people say, and again, best intentions when they say, well, what do you need? And
We don't know what you need. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. And like I said, I know that the intention is there and they want to give you whatever you need and they want to be there for you and they want to give you that support. But the thing is, I can't name that thing. I
Yeah.
can't name it. I don't know what I need.
I need my mama.
Amen. Amen.
That's what I
Absolutely.
need.
Yeah. Amen. Well, we've talked for quite some time, Paula.
We are way over time.
We are over time.
We knew that was going to happen. We
because
actually
you get the two of
meant
us together and we talk.
this happens.
Yes.
We actually meant to set a timer. We
Well,
did not do that.
No, we didn't.
But hey, it's our first one. You live and learn, right?
Yeah. So I think that for our parting words, what do you want to tell our audience for our parting words?
Parting words. If you are the one in grief, the best thing that I could tell you is embrace it, whatever that looks like. Whether it looks like screaming in a pillow or crying or breaking down or seeing a grief counselor or grief therapist. But embrace it because it's not going to go away. You can't ignore it. It doesn't disappear. It stays with you. And if you get stuck there, it's going to show up in other parts of your relationship and you will ooze. And I say ooze. You will ooze out on other people. And, it's yours to carry it's yours to carry. Nobody can carry my grief with me, but they can be in it with me if they so choose to.
And I'm going to pick up right there with what Paula said. So one of the things, like I said, that she walks with me through this, You may have remembered that I've said before, life is a maze. We don't necessarily know where the next turn is going to take us. We don't necessarily know where the exit is. But we just have to understand that we have to take that next step, right? We just have to take that next step. As uncertain as we may be, and as we don't have the answers, we can't name the feelings or the emotions. But if we live in denial, if we try to just cover up and ignore, or as Paula would tell me, she says, Kay, you can't do this in isolation. Kay, don't shut everybody else out. You can't, well,
I
you
say,
shouldn't.
Kay, you're not built to go through life alone.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, I can say the same thing to other people, but when it's myself, it's harder to do. So it's really easy to say. And like I said, that whole knowledge and logic, yes, but the doing
Well,
part
it's hard
is
to be
harder.
vulnerable.
Well, and it's hard to go through the feelings. It's hard to sit.
That's vulnerability.
But yeah, to sit in the ashes of the mess, to sit in the, the unknowing, the ugliness, and it's so much easier to go into autopilot and just do, and then just not pay attention to the other stuff.
Or no.
Yes, you go no, absolutely. Yeah, it's Novocaine. So what I guess my parting words would be.
Well, it wasn't done, but go ahead.
Well,
All I was going to say is, part of the parting words, all I was going to say is, if you know somebody that's in grief,
yes,
you don't have to have the right answers.
No.
Right? And you're going to be more uncomfortable with their grief than they're going to be. And so what I'm going to just suggest, challenge, advise, is just be present.
Yes.
And it's okay to say, I don't know how to help you, but I'm here for you.
But I'm here.
And they don't know what they're going to need. So think about what you would want, right? If you want to buy groceries, just buy them some comfort food. If you want to, send them flowers, just send the flowers or the plant. Or if you want to just
Pop by their office and leave them a note on the desk that says, hey, Kay, I was thinking about you and I love you.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah. And it's totally okay to look at them and say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you anytime you need me. Because there's so much comfort in that. There's so much comfort for me, for somebody to say, I don't know what to do, but I'm here.
And so we always end our podcast with one good hello to give. And so if you're the person going through grief, the one good hello is to give yourself permission to both grieve and find joy in honoring that person at the same time. If you're the person who is supporting or trying to support the person who's going through grief, like Paula said, give the gift of presence. Just give the gift of presence, being fully present for that person, understanding that you want to support, you want to help, you want to give them something. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they need. So just give them the gift of presence. So until next time, continue to listen inward and to live upward. Continue to choose to rise and learn to thrive. One good hello at a time. Thank you for joining us today.